What matters is your ability to live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled right now. Time may take its course in the external world, but in your internal world there is no past or future, only the now. When you live as though your desire is already fulfilled in the present moment, you are transcending the limitations of time and creating your desired reality in the timeless space of the present. Living in the present moment helps you eliminate the concept of waiting. Many people become fixated on when something will happen, when their manifestation will come to fruition, when they will achieve their goals, or when their circumstances will change. However, waiting creates resistance and blocks the flow of energy. The more you wait, the more you are telling the universe that you do not believe your desire is already fulfilled. Living in the present moment removes the need for waiting, because in this moment you assume that your desire has already been realized. There is no gap between where you are and where you want to be, because you are already there in the present moment. In addition to this, living in the present moment encourages you to embrace the idea of living in a state of flow. When you are fully immersed in the present, you are not bogged down by worries about the future or regrets from the past. You are simply flowing with life, engaging in the process of creation and trusting that everything is unfolding perfectly. This sense of flow helps you release the need to control outcomes, allowing the universe to bring your desires to you in the most effortless way possible. Living in the present moment is a transformative practice that empowers you to take control of your life and your creation process. It helps you step into your true creative power and understand that the only moment in which you can truly manifest is now. By embracing the present, you align your thoughts, emotions, and actions with your desires, and you create the space for them to come to fruition. The more you focus on the present and live in alignment with your desired outcomes, the more you will see your reality shift in miraculous ways. The power of belief is central to Neville Goddard's teachings, and understanding it is key to creating the life you desire. In Neville's philosophy, belief is not a passive state, but an active force that shapes our reality. It is the foundation upon which everything we experience is built. What we believe to be true about ourselves, our world, and our future is directly reflected in our external reality. Our beliefs serve as a filter through which we perceive the world, and they act as a blueprint that governs the outcomes we experience. Belief is not simply about agreeing with something intellectually. It's about assuming with complete confidence that what we desire is already ours, and living as though it has already been realized. The nature of belief, according to Neville, is that it precedes the physical manifestation. It's not about seeing to believe, but about believing in order to see. Many people wait for evidence in the physical world to confirm their beliefs. However, Neville emphasizes that true creation begins within, and the world around you is merely a reflection of your inner state. When you truly believe something, you align your thoughts, emotions, and actions with that belief, and as a result, the external world must reflect that belief back to you. This means that your beliefs are the invisible forces that shape the visible reality. If you believe you are capable of success, for instance, your life will unfold in a way that aligns with that belief. However, this process is not always as straightforward as it seems. Often people have beliefs that are ingrained from past experiences, societal conditioning, or external influences, and these beliefs can be limiting. For example, someone who has been taught that wealth is difficult to attain might struggle to manifest abundance because their belief system is not aligned with prosperity. In such cases, the key to changing external circumstances lies in changing these limiting beliefs. By consciously altering your belief system, you can transform your reality. This is where Neville's teaching on the power of imagination comes into play. Imagination is the tool that allows you to access and reshape your beliefs. When you vividly imagine your desired reality and mentally and emotionally live in the end result, you begin to impress these new beliefs upon your subconscious mind. Over time, the subconscious accepts these new beliefs as truth, and as a result, they become reflected in your life. Belief also extends to the idea of the assumption. According to Neville, assumption is the act of mentally and emotionally living as if your desire is already fulfilled. It is a belief that is so strong and persistent that it feels as though the desired outcome is already a part of your reality. The assumption, much like belief, must be so deeply rooted that you act, think, and feel as though it is already true. When you assume that something is already true, your subconscious mind begins to work in accordance with that assumption, shaping the events of your life to bring that assumption to fruition. This is the power of belief in action, the ability to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and to live from that assumption without doubt or hesitation. One of the most transformative aspects of belief is that it can free you from the need to control how your desires manifest. Many people become overly focused on the how of manifestation, believing that they need to figure out the specific steps to take or the exact timing of events. This can create resistance and stress because the how is ultimately beyond our control. Instead, belief allows you to release this need for control. When you believe that your desires are already yours, you no longer need to worry about the logistics of how they will come into your life. You trust that the universe will take care of the details, and you simply need to maintain your belief and continue living in alignment with your desired outcome. This trust in the process is vital because it removes the mental burden of trying to figure everything out and opens up space for the universe to deliver your desires in the most harmonious way possible. Belief also has a profound effect on how we perceive and respond to challenges or obstacles. When you believe in the fulfillment of your desires, you view challenges not as insurmountable obstacles but as temporary circumstances that are part of the process of manifestation. Your belief allows you to keep moving forward even when things appear to be difficult or uncertain. For instance, if you are working on manifesting a new job and face rejection after an interview, instead of seeing it as a setback, you maintain the belief that your perfect job is already on its way. This belief sustains you through the process and prevents you from giving up or being discouraged. The challenge becomes part of the unfolding of your desire rather than a sign that it isn't happening. This shift in perception is one of the most powerful aspects of belief, because it transforms the way you experience the world and your circumstances. To build and strengthen belief, Neville suggests the practice of mental rehearsal and visualization. By spending time each day vividly imagining your desired outcome, you reprogram your mind to accept that desire as already fulfilled. Visualization works because the subconscious mind cannot distinguish between a real experience and one that is vividly imagined. As you imagine your desires being realized, you are impressing them upon your subconscious mind, and over time that new belief becomes embedded in your consciousness. When you continuously reinforce the belief that your desires are already yours, you begin to see the external world conforming to that belief. Another way to strengthen belief is through the use of affirmations. Affirmations are statements that reinforce the desired belief and can be used to reprogram the subconscious mind. By repeating positive, empowering affirmations that align with your desires, you are planting seeds in your mind that will eventually grow into beliefs. For example, if you desire financial abundance, you might repeat an affirmation like, "I am abundant in all areas of my life." Repeating this affirmation with conviction and feeling helps to solidify the belief in abundance. Over time, your actions and external circumstances will align with this belief, and you will begin to see financial opportunities manifesting in your life. Belief also has a direct impact on your self-worth and confidence. When you truly believe in your ability to achieve your desires, you naturally begin to take actions that align with that belief. This could mean taking bold steps toward your goals, engaging in new opportunities, or simply carrying yourself with the confidence that you are worthy of success. The more you believe in your own worth, the more you will act in ways that affirm your value, and as a result, your reality will begin to mirror that belief. This creates a positive feedback loop where your belief in yourself fuels your actions, and your actions in turn reinforce your beliefs. Lastly, it's important to recognize that belief is not something static. It's a dynamic force that evolves over time. As you begin to see the evidence of your desires manifesting, your belief in the process grows stronger. This creates a cycle of increasing faith and alignment with your desires. The more you believe, the more you see proof that your beliefs are shaping your reality. This self-reinforcing cycle continues to build momentum, and before you know it, your life becomes a living testament to the power of belief. When you trust in your beliefs and act from that trust, the universe aligns with you and your desires are drawn to you effortlessly. Belief is not just a passive mental concept. It is a powerful creative force that shapes your entire reality. Through belief, you create the conditions for your desires to manifest. By aligning your thoughts, emotions, and actions with the belief that your desires are already fulfilled, you set the stage for their manifestation. It is not enough to believe intellectually. You must live from the assumption that your desires are already yours. As you strengthen your belief through practices like visualization, affirmation, and mental rehearsal, you reprogram your subconscious mind to align with your desires, and the external world will reflect that alignment. Belief is the foundation of creation, and by mastering it, you unlock the power to create the life you truly desire. The concept of detachment is often misunderstood, but in Neville Goddard's philosophy, it plays a crucial role in manifesting desires and living a fulfilling life. Detachment, as Neville teaches, does not mean indifference or not caring about what you want. Rather, it is about releasing attachment to the outcome and the specific form in which your desires must manifest. It is about trusting that the universe is constantly working in your favor and that whatever you desire will come to you in the right way at the right time. The idea is to stop obsessing over how or when something will happen and instead focus on aligning your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs with your desired outcome while letting go of the need to control the process. Many people approach manifestation with a mindset of desperation or attachment. They may desire something deeply, but they remain fixated on the specific way in which they believe it should come into their lives. This attachment to the how and the when often creates resistance, which blocks the flow of energy and delays the manifestation of their desires. The key to successful manifestation, according to Neville, is to release this attachment and trust that the universe will provide exactly what you need, even if it doesn't come in the form or time frame you originally envisioned. Detachment in this sense involves a deep sense of trust in the process and in the creative power that resides within you. It requires you to step back from constantly checking for signs or waiting for immediate results. Instead, you shift your focus to living from the assumption that your desires have already been fulfilled. When you believe that what you want is already on its way to you, there is no need for anxiety, worry, or impatience. You trust that the universe will bring you what you need in the most perfect way, and you release any attachment to the form in which it will arrive. One of the reasons why detachment is so powerful in Neville's teachings is that it allows you to fully embrace the present moment. People often spend so much time focusing on their future desires or regretting past mistakes that they miss the opportunities and beauty available to them right now. By practicing detachment, you free yourself from the constant cycle of longing and desire. You stop waiting for something outside of you to change in order to feel happy or fulfilled. Instead, you start to enjoy the present moment, knowing that all things are already in motion to bring your desires into being. When you detach from the need for specific outcomes, you also allow space for greater possibilities. The universe works in mysterious ways, and by holding tightly to a particular vision of how things should unfold, you may unintentionally limit the infinite possibilities that exist. Detachment encourages you to let go of rigid expectations and be open to receiving your desires in unexpected forms. What you may think is the perfect solution may not always be the best for you, and by detaching from a fixed outcome, you create room for the universe to surprise you with something even better than you imagined. A critical part of detachment is also understanding that your self-worth is not tied to the outcome of your desires. Many people attach their sense of value and happiness to whether or not they achieve a particular goal. They might think, once I get that job or that relationship or that amount of money, then I'll be happy. This mindset creates a constant cycle of seeking external validation and feeling incomplete until that desire is realized. Neville teaches that your worth is inherent, and you do not need to tie your happiness to external circumstances. When you detach from the outcome and trust that your desires will manifest in divine timing, you no longer feel as though your happiness depends on them. Instead, you cultivate a sense of inner peace and satisfaction, knowing that your fulfillment is independent of what happens in the external world. Another essential aspect of detachment is the ability to release doubts and fears. Often, when people are too attached to an outcome, they allow doubts and negative thoughts to creep in. They start questioning whether they deserve what they want or whether it is even possible to achieve. These doubts stem from attachment to the outcome, and they create mental blocks that prevent manifestation from occurring. Detaching from the outcome allows you to release these doubts and maintain your belief in the desired end result. You trust that your desire is already fulfilled and you do not need to continuously question or doubt the process. This trust is vital in maintaining a sense of flow and ease in the manifestation process. In Neville's teachings, detachment also extends to letting go of any preconceived ideas about how or when your desires will manifest. People often get caught up in looking for specific signs or evidence that their manifestation is on its way. They might check their bank accounts obsessively or anxiously await a phone call, looking for external confirmation. While it is natural to feel excited and hopeful, Neville suggests that such behavior only strengthens attachment and creates resistance. By detaching from the need for signs or proof, you let go of the anxiety and stress that often come with waiting for something to happen. Instead, you focus on your inner state, trusting that the external world will eventually reflect the inner assumption of your desires being fulfilled. This is where Neville's concept of living in the end becomes particularly useful. By living as though your desire has already been fulfilled, you release the pressure of waiting for something to change. You stop measuring your success by external milestones and start measuring it by your internal sense of fulfillment. When you live from the end, you act, think, and feel as though the thing you desire has already come to pass. You release any attachment to when or how it will arrive, and instead focus on the joy and fulfillment of having it right now, in the present moment. Detachment also involves learning how to deal with challenges or setbacks that may arise during the manifestation process. It's important to understand that obstacles are a natural part of life and are not necessarily signs that something is wrong. Rather than viewing challenges as barriers, detachment allows you to see them as temporary and ultimately inconsequential to your ultimate desire. If something doesn't work out as planned, detaching from the outcome allows you to maintain your peace and confidence, knowing that everything is unfolding in perfect order, even if it's not immediately apparent. This mindset shift reduces the emotional charge around setbacks, preventing frustration or discouragement from setting in. A common misunderstanding of detachment is that it requires you to completely disconnect from your desires, or to stop caring about them. However, detachment is not about relinquishing your desires or resigning yourself to an unfulfilled life. It's about recognizing that attachment to the outcome creates resistance and prevents the natural flow of manifestation. By practicing detachment, you free yourself from this resistance and in doing so allow your desires to come to you more effortlessly. It's about trusting that you are deserving of your desires and that they are already on their way to you. Detachment in Neville Goddard's philosophy is about releasing attachment to the form and timing of your desires, while maintaining an unwavering belief that your desires are already yours. It's about letting go of the need to control every aspect of the manifestation process and trusting that the universe is working in your favor. Detaching from the outcome frees you from the stress, doubt, and anxiety that often come with desire, allowing you to live in a state of peace and alignment with your inner vision. When you practice detachment, you open yourself up to the limitless possibilities that life has to offer, knowing that your desires will come to you in the perfect way and time. By releasing attachment, you allow the universe to work through you, bringing your dreams into reality effortlessly and naturally. The way you see the world shapes the way the world responds to you. When you act as if everything always works out for you, you are not pretending. You are aligning yourself with a deeper truth, a truth that says reality conforms to your inner state. Every assumption you hold plants a seed in the unseen realm, and what you persist in assuming inevitably hardens into fact. Neville Goddard taught that imagination is the creative force behind everything you experience. If you can imagine yourself already in possession of the life you desire, and persist in that state, the world will rearrange itself to match your assumption. This is not wishful thinking, this is the law of consciousness. The moment you act as if everything works out for you, you step into a new state of being. You no longer react to circumstances as if they hold power over you. Instead, you dictate how reality unfolds by embodying the feeling of already having what you seek. The world becomes a mirror reflecting back to you the state you occupy. If you walk with the certainty that life always bends in your favor, life will begin to prove you right. People will show up at the right time, opportunities will flow, and challenges will dissolve effortlessly. This is not because the world has suddenly changed, but because you have. Your inner shift reorders the outer world. Many believe they must first see evidence before they can believe something is true, but the truth is the opposite. Belief precedes evidence. What you accept as real in your inner world must take shape in the physical. If you believe that you are always lucky, that doors always open for you, that you are always in the right place at the right time, your subconscious mind will seek out and create experiences to confirm this assumption. The law is impersonal. It does not judge whether an assumption is good or bad, only whether it is persistently held. If you assume struggle, struggle manifests. If you assume ease, ease manifests. There is no need to force or chase anything. Acting as if everything always works out for you does not mean constantly striving or worrying about how things will unfold. It means trusting in the unseen power that orchestrates events according to your state of mind. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you move as if your desire is already a reality. You no longer beg, plead, or doubt. You simply walk in confidence, knowing the unseen forces are working in your favor. This is the essence of living in the end. Living in the end means experiencing the joy, peace, and fulfillment of having already received what you desire. You do not wait for external validation, you create it within yourself first. If you desire love, you embody the feeling of being deeply loved. If you desire financial abundance, you carry yourself with the ease and confidence of someone who already has more than enough. The external world is slow to catch up, but it will inevitably conform. When you act as if everything always works out for you, you shift into a state where solutions appear before problems arise, where delays turn into divine timing, and where obstacles transform into stepping stones. Doubt is the greatest barrier to manifestation. If you waver between believing in your power and surrendering to fear, you send mixed signals to the universe. Acting as if requires unwavering faith. It means refusing to entertain thoughts of failure, lack, or limitation. It is not about ignoring reality, but about choosing which reality to accept. There are infinite versions of you existing simultaneously. There is a version of you who struggles, doubts, and fears. And there is a version of you who thrives, who trusts, who knows that everything is always working out. You have the power to choose which version of yourself you will embody. The world will test you. It will throw challenges your way to see if you truly believe in your assumption. In these moments, your response determines the outcome. If you react with fear, frustration, or doubt, you slip back into the old state. But if you remain steadfast, knowing that the temporary obstacle is merely an illusion, you will move through it effortlessly. The key is to remain unshaken, to persist in the assumption that everything is unfolding for your highest good, even when appearances suggest otherwise. The subconscious mind accepts what is impressed upon it with feeling. This is why it is not enough to simply affirm that everything works out. You must feel it. You must embody the confidence, the peace, the knowing. If you say the words but still feel fear, your subconscious will respond to the feeling, not the words. The body does not know the difference between imagination and reality. When you close your eyes and truly immerse yourself in the experience of having what you desire, your subconscious registers it as real. And once something is real in your inner world, it must materialize in the outer world. People often ask, how long will it take? But this question itself comes from a place of doubt. Time is irrelevant in the realm of consciousness. The moment you fully assume a state, it is done. The physical world may take time to reflect it, but the change has already occurred. Instead of waiting for proof, act as if it is already here. Do not look to the external for confirmation. Become the person who already has it, and the world will conform. You are the operant power. Nothing happens to you, everything happens through you. The power you seek is not outside of you, it is within. When you shift your assumption, the world moves. When you act as if everything always works out for you, you send a command to the universe, and the universe obeys. Opportunities appear, people align, and synchronicities unfold. Not because of luck, but because you are embodying the state where this is natural. There is no need to struggle, no need to push. The most effortless way to create is through assumption. Assume it is already done, and move through life as if it is so. Do not seek, do not doubt, do not waver. Hold the feeling, walk in confidence, and watch as reality bends to match your state of being. Everything is always working out for you. When you believe it, you will see it. When you act as if everything always works out for you, you are stepping into a reality where you are no longer a victim of circumstances, but the master of your fate. You are not just hoping for good things to happen, you are deciding that they will. This is not about pretending or fooling yourself. It is about understanding that reality is shaped by your assumptions, and what you assume to be true must become true. You are not at the mercy of life. Life is at the mercy of your state of consciousness. Most people live in reaction to the world around them, allowing circumstances to dictate how they feel, how they think, and what they believe is possible. But this is an illusion. The truth is, your inner state is what determines the outer world, not the other way around. When you act as if everything always works out for you, you are shifting your consciousness to a higher level, one where life bends in your favor because you expect it to. This expectation is not arrogance, it is alignment. It is the recognition that your assumptions create your reality. When you assume that things will always work out, you stop worrying about how things will unfold. Worry is a sign that you are doubting your power. Doubt weakens your ability to manifest because it signals to the subconscious mind that you are not fully convinced. But when you stand firm in the belief that everything is unfolding in your favor, you emit a frequency of certainty, and the universe responds in kind. Doors open effortlessly, obstacles dissolve, and opportunities appear, seemingly out of nowhere. It is not out of nowhere, it is out of your consciousness. You cannot fake this mindset. You must genuinely feel it, embody it, live it. You must walk as if you already have what you desire, speak as if it is done, carry yourself with the confidence of someone who knows that the universe is always working behind the scenes, arranging things in your favor. This is the essence of living in the end. You are no longer hoping, you are knowing. You are no longer waiting, you are being. Many people sabotage their manifestations by constantly checking for signs, wondering when their desire will appear. But this only reinforces a state of lack. The one who truly knows does not need proof. They do not wait for validation from the outside world because they have already received it internally. And because they have received it within, it must eventually appear without. The world is a mirror, always reflecting back the state you persist in. If you want to change what you see, you must first change what you assume to be true. Most people believe in struggle because they have been conditioned to think that life is hard, that success takes effort, that love is rare, that money is scarce. But these are all assumptions, and they are only true for those who believe them. The moment you decide that ease, abundance, love, and success are your natural state, they will become your experience. There is no power outside of you dictating what you can or cannot have. The only limitations that exist are the ones you accept. The moment you reject them, they dissolve. Acting as if everything always works out for you does not mean ignoring reality. It means choosing which reality to accept. Right now, there are infinite versions of you existing simultaneously. There is a version of you struggling, a version of you thriving, a version of you doubting, and a version of you completely confident in your power. The version you experience depends on which one you align with. The moment you shift into the state of the version who knows that life always works out, that becomes your dominant reality. This is not about waiting for circumstances to change before you feel good. It is about feeling good first, knowing that the world must shift in response. This is why most people remain stuck. They wait for external changes before they allow themselves to feel differently. But the truth is, external change is the result of an internal shift. You must feel the success before you see it. You must feel the abundance before it arrives. Doubt is the killer of dreams. The moment you allow doubt to creep in, you are stepping back into a reality where things don't work out for you. But doubt is a choice. You can choose to entertain it, or you can choose to dismiss it. The ones who master this law are the ones who refuse to let doubt dictate their beliefs. They stand firm in their assumption, no matter what appears before them. They do not react to temporary setbacks because they know the final outcome is already secured. You are always creating, whether you realize it or not. The question is, are you creating deliberately or by default? If you allow fear, worry, and doubt to dominate your mind, you will manifest experiences that reflect those states. But if you assume that everything is working out, that life is unfolding perfectly, that you are always in the right place at the right time, your reality will mold itself to match that assumption. Acting as if is not about forcing things to happen. It is about becoming the version of yourself for whom these things are natural. The version of you who already has what they desire is not desperate, is not anxious, is not constantly questioning. They are calm, confident, and certain. They move with assurance, they speak with authority, and they trust the process completely. Every great manifestation requires persistence. You may not see results immediately, but that does not mean it is not working. The moment you assume a new state, reality begins shifting to match it. Sometimes, this means old structures must collapse before the new can emerge. If things seem to be falling apart, do not panic. It is simply reality reorganizing itself to fit your new assumption. Hold your state, remain unmoved, and watch as everything aligns perfectly in divine timing. The people who seem lucky, the ones for whom everything flows effortlessly, are not different from you. They are simply operating from a different assumption. They expect things to go well, and so they do. The only difference between them and someone who struggles is the state they persist in. But you can change your state at any moment. Right now, you can decide that from this point forward, everything will always work out for you. And if you truly believe it, if you act as if it is already so, you will watch your reality transform before your eyes. You do not need permission to be powerful. You do not need external validation to claim what is already yours. Everything you seek is already within you. The only thing standing between you and the life you desire is the assumption that it is not already yours. But the moment you accept it as done, the universe has no choice but to bring it into your experience. Everything is always working out for you. The only question is, do you believe it? Because if you do, you will see it. The world is waiting for you to make a decision. Decide now that from this moment forward, life unfolds in your favor. And if you persist in this belief, nothing will ever be the same again. Imagine for a moment that everything you desire is already yours, that the circumstances of your life have unfolded exactly as you would wish them to. Feel the satisfaction, the peace, and the confidence that come with this certainty. Now, I ask you, why should this be anything but your reality? Why should you, in the face of the world's seeming chaos, falter in your faith that all things work together for your good? You see, the secret to life, my friends, lies not in the outer conditions but in the inner state of consciousness. When you choose to act as if everything always works out for you, you are aligning yourself with the greatest law of all, the law of assumption. This is the law that dictates that the world reflects what you believe to be true about it. If you believe that all is well, that every challenge you face is simply another stepping stone toward your inevitable success, then your world will mirror that belief. But here's the key. It doesn't matter what the outer world looks like right now. The world is a reflection of your inner consciousness. If you act as if everything works out for you, then you will see it working out, even in the most difficult of circumstances. You will begin to feel as if the universe itself is conspiring to bring you closer to your dreams. The people you encounter will be the right people. The opportunities will arise at the right time, and the solutions to your problems will appear as if by magic. It is not magic, but the law of your own assumption at work. Do not let doubt, fear, or uncertainty sway you from this truth. These feelings are but distractions, temporary clouds that obscure the brilliant sun of your inner knowing. If you persist in assuming that all is well, no matter the circumstances, you are strengthening your conviction. You are teaching yourself and the world around you that you are the master of your destiny. This is not wishful thinking or a naive hope. This is the highest form of practical wisdom. You are not waiting for the world to change. You are changing the world through the power of your assumption. When you act as if everything works out for you, you are trusting in your creative power to shape reality. You are affirming your belief in the goodness of life, and as a result, life will unfold in ways you could not have predicted or imagined. So begin today. Act as if everything is already working in your favor. Assume success, assume harmony, assume that every step you take leads you closer to your goal. As you persist in this assumption, you will see that the world begins to reflect back to you exactly what you believe. Your inner conviction will be made manifest in the outer world. It must be so, for that is the law of the universe. Act as if everything always works out for you, and it will. The idea that the outer world is a reflection of your inner state is perhaps one of the most profound truths that can be understood. This is not merely a philosophical concept or a spiritual ideal. It is the fundamental principle that governs how we experience reality. At the core of this belief is the understanding that everything we see around us, every person we encounter, and every situation we face is the result of our own thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions. It is the recognition that what we perceive as external circumstances are merely mirrors of the inner world of our consciousness. Consider this: everything you experience in life is filtered through the lens of your beliefs. If you believe the world is a friendly, supportive place, your experiences will reflect that. You will encounter people who are kind and opportunities that seem to flow easily. If, on the other hand, you hold the belief that life is a struggle and that obstacles are always in your way, you will attract those very circumstances into your life. The world does not act independently of you, rather it responds to your internal state. This principle can be likened to a projector shining an image onto a screen. The image projected onto the screen is not the screen itself, but rather the image created by the projector. In the same way, the world around you is not the reality itself. It is the result of the images and beliefs you project from within. These projections come from your subconscious mind, which is constantly working to bring into reality the thoughts and assumptions you hold. It is an unshakable law of the universe that the external world mirrors the state of your inner world. The power of this understanding lies in the fact that you are not a passive participant in life. You are the creator of your experiences. Your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs are the tools you use to shape reality. When you begin to understand that everything you encounter is a reflection of what is within you, you realize that you have the power to change your circumstances by changing your inner state. If you change the way you think and feel about the world will change accordingly. For many, this idea can be challenging to grasp, especially when faced with difficult or negative circumstances. It may seem as though the world is working against them, that their circumstances are beyond their control. However, this is precisely where the power lies. It is not the events themselves that determine the outcome of your life, but your interpretation and reaction to those events. The way you respond to life is the key to transforming your experience. If you choose to react from a place of negativity, doubt, or fear, you will continue to attract more of the same. But if you choose to shift your perspective and respond with faith, trust, and positivity, you begin to change the course of your life. It is important to note that this principle does not require you to ignore the challenges or difficulties you may face. It does not suggest that you should pretend everything is perfect when it is not. Rather, it encourages you to recognize that your inner state has a direct influence on how you experience and navigate these challenges. By shifting your beliefs about what is possible, you begin to perceive opportunities even in the face of adversity. The key is not to be passive in your response to life, but to consciously choose the state of mind from which you approach each situation. For example, imagine you are facing a financial setback. The initial response might be fear, worry, or frustration. These feelings are natural, but they are also powerful forces that can shape your future experiences. If you allow these negative emotions to dominate your thoughts, you are likely to continue attracting more financial struggles. However, if you recognize that your inner state is influencing the outcome, you can shift your mindset. You can choose to believe that this setback is merely a temporary circumstance and that abundance and prosperity are still available to you. You might choose to focus on the opportunities for growth or the lessons that can be learned from the situation. By doing so, you are aligning your inner state with the belief that all things are working for your good, even when the evidence around you might suggest otherwise. This shift in perception has the power to change the course of your financial situation, as it opens you up to new solutions and possibilities that you may have previously overlooked. Similarly, your relationships are deeply influenced by the beliefs you hold about yourself and others. If you believe that you are worthy of love, respect, and support, you will attract people who treat you with love and respect. On the other hand, if you hold the belief that you are undeserving or unworthy, you may find yourself in relationships that reinforce those negative beliefs. The way people treat you is often a reflection of how you treat yourself internally. When you begin to love and value yourself, when you believe in your own worth, you create an energetic field that draws others who resonate with that same energy. Your relationships become a reflection of your own self-image. And as you change how you view yourself, you can transform the dynamics with those around you. This principle extends beyond personal relationships and financial matters. It governs every aspect of life. Whether you're seeking success in your career, improved health, or greater peace of mind, the key lies in changing the beliefs and assumptions that govern your experience. If you believe that success is hard to attain, that you are incapable of achieving your goals, or that obstacles are insurmountable, you will continue to experience those limitations. But when you shift your beliefs to assume that success is already yours, that the universe is supporting you, and that you are fully capable of overcoming any challenge, you begin to see evidence of that in your life. Opportunities, resources, and people will appear to help you fulfill your desires. Understanding that the outer world is a reflection of the inner world requires a shift in perspective from a passive, reactive approach to life to an active, creative one. It means recognizing that you are not a victim of your circumstances, but a powerful creator of your experience. The world is not happening to you, it is happening for you, based on the beliefs and assumptions you hold within. The more consciously you direct your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions, the more effectively you can shape your reality. Ultimately, this truth empowers you to take control of your life. By understanding that everything you experience is a mirror of your inner state, you realize that you are the one who determines your experience. You are the one who holds the key to unlocking a life filled with abundance, love, success, and peace. It is within your power to change your thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions, and in doing so, change the world you live in. The world around you is not fixed or predetermined. It is malleable and responsive to the energy you project. When you take responsibility for your inner state, you begin to create the life you truly desire. The law of assumption is a transformative concept that empowers individuals to take control of their lives by recognizing the immense power of their beliefs and assumptions. It operates on the understanding that what you assume to be true will inevitably shape your experiences. This law is not a mere idea or theory, but a fundamental principle of reality, one that governs the outcomes you experience in every aspect of your life. The beauty of the law of assumption is that it is simple, yet profound. Your life is not determined by external circumstances or events, but by the assumptions you hold in your mind. At the core of this law lies the idea that what you believe to be true about yourself, the world, and others becomes your reality. In other words, the assumptions you make about life shape the way you experience it. Whether you realize it or not, your assumptions are the lens through which you perceive the world. When you assume something to be true, your mind works to bring it into being. This can be both empowering and challenging, depending on whether your assumptions are aligned with your desires or with limiting beliefs. The law of assumption is a reminder that you are not at the mercy of circumstances. Rather, you are the creator of your reality. It is important to understand that assumptions are not simply thoughts that cross your mind from time to time. They are deeply ingrained beliefs that shape your perception of the world and influence the decisions you make. Assumptions are often formed by past experiences, societal conditioning, and the stories you tell yourself. For instance, if you have experienced failure in the past, you might assume that you are not capable of success. If you grew up in an environment where money was always scarce, you might assume that financial abundance is out of your reach. These assumptions, though often unconscious, dictate the way you approach life and the actions you take. They are powerful forces that influence everything from your relationships to your career to your health. The law of assumption suggests that by consciously changing your assumptions, you can change your life. It is not enough to simply hope for a different reality. You must assume that your desired reality is already true. This shift in mindset requires a deep understanding that the outer world is a reflection of your inner state. The more you assume something to be true, the more you align yourself with the corresponding reality. This is why it is essential to identify and release any limiting assumptions you may hold and replace them with ones that support your goals and desires. One of the key aspects of the law of assumption is that it does not require you to wait for external validation before assuming something to be true. In fact, waiting for evidence before believing is the opposite of how this law operates. Instead, you must take the leap of faith and assume that what you desire is already yours. This act of assuming is what creates the conditions for manifestation. It is not about trying to force things to happen or manipulate external circumstances. It is about aligning your inner state with the reality you wish to experience. To illustrate how this works, consider the example of someone who desires a successful career. If they assume that success is difficult to attain, that they are not qualified enough, or that the world is too competitive, they will likely find that their career path is filled with obstacles and setbacks. Their assumptions about success, based on fear, self-doubt, and limiting beliefs, will influence their actions, mindset, and the opportunities they encounter. These assumptions will create a self-fulfilling prophecy, reinforcing their belief that success is out of reach. However, when the same person begins to assume that success is not only possible but inevitable, their entire approach to life changes. They start to act as though their success is already assured. They may take bolder steps, seize opportunities, and develop the confidence to overcome challenges. Even if they encounter setbacks, they no longer see them as insurmountable obstacles, but as temporary hurdles to be overcome. Their assumption that success is their natural state begins to create the conditions for success to manifest, and their experiences begin to align with that belief. This principle applies to all areas of life, from relationships to health to wealth. If you assume that love is difficult to find, that people will disappoint you, or that you are unworthy of love, you will attract experiences that reflect those assumptions. Conversely, if you assume that love is abundant, that you are deserving of meaningful connections, and that the right people are always coming into your life, you will begin to experience a different reality. Your assumptions about relationships will guide your actions and interactions, influencing the people you meet and the connections you form. Similarly, when it comes to health, the law of assumption suggests that your beliefs about your body and well-being can greatly influence your physical reality. If you assume that you are always susceptible to illness, that you have poor health, or that healing takes a long time, these assumptions will manifest in your life. On the other hand, if you assume that you are healthy, vibrant, and strong, your body will respond in kind. This does not mean ignoring symptoms or disregarding medical advice, but rather, it is about cultivating a mindset that supports health and well-being. By assuming good health, you create a mental and emotional environment that encourages healing and vitality. One of the most powerful aspects of the law of assumption is that it works regardless of whether the assumption is positive or negative. If you assume that something will go wrong, your mind will find ways to make that assumption true. Similarly, if you assume that things will work out in your favor, your mind will align with that belief and bring you opportunities, solutions, and experiences that support it. The key then is to be intentional about the assumptions you make. You must recognize that every assumption, no matter how small, has the potential to shape your reality. This law also emphasizes the importance of consistency. It is not enough to make an assumption once and expect immediate results. The process of manifestation requires you to consistently hold the assumption in your mind, regardless of the circumstances you face. If you assume that you are wealthy, for example, you must continue to hold that assumption even if your current financial situation does not reflect it. The consistency of your assumption will eventually cause the outer world to conform to your inner belief. In practice, applying the law of assumption requires you to cultivate awareness of your thoughts and beliefs. Begin by identifying the assumptions you hold about yourself and your life. Are they empowering or limiting? Do they align with the reality you want to create? Once you have identified any limiting assumptions, consciously replace them with new, more supportive ones. Assume that you already possess what you desire. Assume that success, love, health, and abundance are your natural state, and begin to live from that assumption. As you do, you will find that the world begins to shift in alignment with your new beliefs. The law of assumption is a reminder that you are the creator of your experience. It empowers you to take control of your life by recognizing that your assumptions shape your reality. By consciously choosing to assume the best, you begin to align yourself with the life you desire. The concept of acting as if is a powerful and transformative practice that lies at the heart of many personal growth philosophies, including the teachings of Neville Goddard. To act as if everything is already working out for you is to embrace the mindset that your desired reality has already manifested, even if the external world has not yet caught up with your internal vision. It is a conscious decision to align your thoughts, beliefs, and actions with the assumption that the circumstances you wish to see are already in place and that you are living in the fulfillment of your desires. This practice is not about wishful thinking or pretending in a superficial way, but about adopting a deep, authentic belief that the reality you desire is already yours. When you act as if everything is working out for you, you are essentially stepping into the role of the person who already possesses everything they want. And by doing so, you shift the energy around you to match that vision. The act of acting as if is rooted in the law of assumption, which states that what you assume to be true will become true in your life. Assumptions are the beliefs and expectations you hold about yourself, others, and the world around you. By acting as if everything is already working out for you, you are assuming that all your desires, dreams, and goals are already being fulfilled. This assumption causes you to align with the reality that supports it. For example, if you are seeking success in your career, acting as if everything is already working out means adopting the mindset of someone who is already successful, regardless of your current position. You begin to think, feel, and behave in ways that are consistent with your success, which in turn attracts the circumstances that will bring that success to fruition. One of the most compelling aspects of this practice is that it bypasses the need for external evidence to justify your belief. Many people wait for something to happen in the physical world before they begin to believe that it is possible or even probable. They think, when I have the job, the money, the relationship, then I will feel successful, happy, or worthy. However, this approach is backward. It is the internal belief, the assumption, that creates the external conditions. By acting as if the desired outcome is already true, you create the inner alignment that makes it possible for the outer world to reflect your assumption. It's not about waiting for things to change before you act, but about changing your internal state to reflect the reality you want to see. When you begin to embody the person who already has what they desire, you will see opportunities, solutions, and synchronicities start to unfold in your life. This idea can be difficult to embrace for those who are accustomed to focusing only on the physical evidence of their circumstances. The common tendency is to base one's belief in the possibility of success or happiness on the current state of affairs. However, the act of acting as if is an invitation to suspend disbelief and adopt a mindset of trust and faith. Faith in this context is not about religious belief, but about a deep, unshakable knowing that what you desire is already coming into being. Acting as if is about trusting the process and the unseen forces that are at work in the background, even when the evidence is not immediately apparent. An important part of acting as if everything is already working out for you is the cultivation of self-confidence. By adopting the mindset of someone who already has everything they want, you begin to see yourself as deserving of those things. Confidence does not come from external validation, but from an internal conviction that you are worthy of your desires. When you act as if you are already successful, healthy, or loved, you begin to recognize your own worthiness. This internal shift is crucial because it changes the energy you project into the world. When you believe that everything is working out for you, you radiate that belief and others respond accordingly. People can sense confidence and certainty, and this often leads to more opportunities, more support, and more positive experiences. Another key aspect of acting as if is the concept of feeling the feeling of the wish fulfilled. In Neville Goddard's teachings, he often emphasizes the importance of not just thinking about the desired outcome, but actually feeling it as though it has already happened. This is a crucial element because emotions are a powerful force that influence the way we perceive and interact with the world. When you feel the emotions associated with having your desire fulfilled, whether it's joy, peace, gratitude, or excitement, you create a vibrational match with the reality you want to experience. Your emotional state is a magnet that draws similar energies to you. If you feel the excitement and satisfaction of success, for instance, you are aligning yourself with the circumstances that will bring that success into physical form. Acting as if also requires a shift in behavior. It's not enough to merely think or feel that everything is working out for you. You must begin to act in ways that reflect this belief. If you are seeking financial abundance, for example, you might start to make decisions from a place of abundance rather than scarcity. You might make a budget with a mindset of growth, invest in opportunities that align with your goals, or engage in actions that reflect confidence in your financial future. This is not about being reckless or unrealistic, but about taking inspired action from the belief that abundance is already flowing into your life. Similarly, if you are seeking love or improved relationships, acting as if means treating yourself and others with the love, respect, and care that you desire to receive. This process of acting as if can also be seen as a form of rehearsal. Just as an actor prepares for a role by stepping into the persona of the character, you prepare for your desired future by stepping into the role of the person who already has what they want. This process helps to reinforce the assumption in your mind and body that your desired reality is already a part of your life. The more you rehearse this way of being, the more natural it becomes. You begin to internalize the belief that everything is indeed working out for you, and this becomes your new reality. Moreover, acting as if everything is already working out for you helps to cultivate a sense of gratitude When you approach life with the assumption that all is well, you start to see the beauty and abundance that already exists in your life. Gratitude is a powerful force that amplifies the energy of positivity and attracts more of the same into your experience. As you act as if everything is working out, you naturally begin to focus on what is going right rather than what is going wrong, which shifts your vibration and attracts more opportunities for growth and success. It's important to note that acting as if does not mean pretending to ignore reality. It is not about denying challenges or pretending that problems don't exist. Rather, it is about choosing to focus on the bigger picture, the reality that you desire to create, and taking aligned actions that support that vision. Even when faced with obstacles, you maintain the assumption that everything is working out for you, and you approach each situation with the belief that the outcome will ultimately be in your favor. It's about trust, faith, and a deep knowing that everything is unfolding as it should, even if the process takes time. In the practice of acting as if everything is already working out for you, you begin to notice that you are no longer waiting for life to change. Instead, you are actively participating in the creation of your reality. You are no longer a passive observer of your circumstances, but a conscious creator who understands that by aligning your thoughts, feelings, and actions with your desires, you are drawing those desires into your life. This practice allows you to embody the person who is already living the life you want, and in doing so, you become a magnet for the opportunities, relationships, and experiences that reflect that new reality. Through acting as if, you embody the power of creation and take full ownership of the life you are manifesting. Faith, in the context of Neville Goddard's teachings, is not about religious belief or blind optimism. It is the unwavering trust and conviction in the unseen and the unmanifested. It is about knowing that your inner world, your thoughts and assumptions, directly influence the external world, regardless of the circumstances you currently find yourself in. This form of faith transcends what is immediately visible and requires you to look beyond the present moment, understanding that your current situation does not define your future. The key to faith, as Neville explains, is not in waiting for external events to convince you that things will work out, but in trusting that what you believe to be true internally is already shaping your reality. Faith, in this sense, is a deep knowing and a complete surrender to the truth that the universe works in alignment with your inner assumptions. It is understanding that the physical world around you is merely a reflection of your inner state of being. This means that although your external circumstances may seem far from ideal or may contradict what you hope for, faith tells you that everything is working for you, not against you. It requires you to trust that your inner assumptions, your beliefs, and your thoughts are all being reflected back to you in the form of events and people that manifest in your life. The challenge many face when it comes to faith is the tendency to let external appearances dictate their beliefs. When things are going well, it is easy to feel hopeful and confident that everything is unfolding perfectly. However, when things appear to be going wrong, or situations don't look the way you expect them to, it can be much harder to maintain faith. This is where the power of faith comes in. It is not about how things look in the present moment, but about knowing deep down that the invisible forces at work are always aligning with your thoughts and assumptions to bring about your desired outcomes. This principle can be illustrated with the example of a plant growing. When you plant a seed, you do not immediately see the plant sprouting out of the soil, yet you have faith in the process. You trust that the seed will grow because you know it is already in the process of growth, even if it's not immediately visible. Similarly, your desires, your assumptions, and the things you wish to manifest are already in the process of becoming, even when they are not yet visible in the physical world. Faith in the unseen is about trusting that what you desire is already in motion, and that you are contributing to that motion with your thoughts and beliefs. What makes this form of faith so powerful is its ability to transcend doubt. Doubt is often the enemy of faith. It is easy to get caught up in questioning whether or not things will work out. when the physical world shows you evidence to the contrary. This is where many people falter. They see what is happening around them and use it as a basis for their beliefs rather than the other way around. When things appear chaotic or uncertain, it is easy to assume that your desires are unattainable, that things are not working out. However, faith teaches us that it is precisely in these moments of doubt that we must strengthen our trust in the process. It is at times when the external evidence contradicts our desires that we must hold firm to the belief that things are unfolding as they should. It's also important to recognize that faith is not about passive waiting. Many people believe that faith simply means sitting back and doing nothing, hoping that things will eventually fall into place. However, Neville Goddard emphasizes that faith is active. It is an active participation in your own creation. Faith, in his view, is not about waiting for something to happen, but about knowing that it has already happened. It is about assuming that the reality you desire is already yours and living from that assumption. When you have faith, you begin to act as if everything is already in place, even if it hasn't yet manifested in the physical world. This form of faith is also a belief in the power of imagination. Goddard stresses that imagination is the key to manifestation, and that by imagining the desired outcome, you are creating it in your subconscious mind. Imagination is the bridge between the unseen world and the physical world. When you imagine yourself as already successful, healthy, or happy, you are impressing that assumption on your subconscious mind. The more vividly and emotionally you imagine your desires, the more you are aligning with them. Faith in this context means trusting that your imagination is a powerful tool, and that the more you use it, the more it begins to shape your reality. One of the most profound aspects of faith is its ability to change your perception of reality. When you have faith that everything is working out for you, even when you can't yet see the evidence, you begin to shift your perception. You stop focusing on what is wrong or what is lacking and instead begin to see opportunities, solutions, and possibilities that you might have otherwise overlooked. Faith allows you to see the world through a lens of abundance rather than scarcity, of possibility rather than limitation. It empowers you to take actions that align with the reality you wish to experience, rather than reacting to the present circumstances as if they were the final determinant of your future. Faith is also deeply connected to self-worth. When you trust that everything is working out for you, you are acknowledging that you are worthy of success, happiness, and abundance. Often, doubt and fear arise from a sense of unworthiness, or fear that you are not deserving of what you want. Faith dispels this sense of lack, replacing it with the deep inner knowing that you are worthy of all that you desire. This shift in perception is crucial because when you feel deserving, you open yourself up to receiving all the blessings and opportunities that the universe has to offer. It is essential to understand that faith is not a one-time decision, but a continual process. It is not something you do once and forget about. It requires regular cultivation and reinforcement. This is where consistent practice comes into play. Every day you must choose to reinforce your faith, to assume that your desires are already manifesting even when external evidence says otherwise. The more you reinforce your faith, the more deeply embedded it becomes in your subconscious mind, and the more you begin to see it reflected in your external world. One of the most practical ways to cultivate this faith is through affirmations and visualization. These tools help you to keep your attention focused on the desired outcome, even when the present moment seems to contradict it. By affirming that everything is working out for you and visualizing yourself already living your desired life, you train your mind to focus on the end result, rather than on the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. This practice helps to deepen your faith in the process, as it strengthens your belief that what you desire is already in the works. Faith in Neville Goddard's teachings is not merely a passive or abstract belief, but a conscious choice to trust in the unseen and to live from that trust. It is about knowing that the external world is always a reflection of your inner state and that everything is always working out in your favor. When you hold steadfast to this faith, even in the face of doubt, you begin to see the manifestation of your desires unfold in ways that may have seemed impossible before. Faith empowers you to create your reality and to live in alignment with your deepest desires, knowing that everything is always working out for you. Living in the end, as described in Neville Goddard's teachings, is one of the most powerful practices for manifesting desires and achieving personal transformation. It involves mentally and emotionally living in the state of fulfillment, assuming that your desires have already been realized. This practice isn't just about wishful thinking or hoping for something to happen. It's about embodying the belief that what you desire has already come to pass, and aligning every thought, feeling, and action with that assumption. By mentally dwelling in the end result, you bridge the gap between your present state and the desired outcome, allowing the physical world to reflect your inner state. Living in the end requires a shift in perspective. Instead of focusing on the lack or absence of what you want, you focus on the end goal as if it has already manifested. This shift is crucial because it eliminates the feeling of yearning or wishing for something to come to you. When you live in the end, you are not waiting for something to happen, nor are you obsessing over how to bring it into your life. Instead, you focus entirely on the fulfillment of your desire, as though it is already complete. This way of thinking and being aligns you with the reality of your desire, allowing it to unfold in the physical world. One of the key aspects of living in the end is the act of imagining the fulfillment of your desire. Imagination, according to Neville, is the creative force behind all manifestation. The more vividly and emotionally you imagine the end result of your desire, the more you impress it upon your subconscious mind. This is because the subconscious mind cannot distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. By living in the end result, your subconscious accepts it as reality, and it begins to draw the necessary circumstances, people, and events to make it so. The more you immerse yourself in the feeling of living your desire, the more it will be reflected in your outer world. To live in the end, you must cultivate the ability to see beyond the present moment and to visualize the desired outcome as already being true. This requires a willingness to surrender to the idea that the physical world is not the true source of reality, but rather it is a reflection of the inner state. For example, if you desire a successful career, living in the end would mean imagining yourself already succeeding in your chosen field. You would think and act as though success has already been achieved, which in turn shifts your energy and actions toward making that success a reality. You would not focus on the steps or the obstacles, but on the end result, trusting that the process will unfold naturally. Another critical element of living in the end is the practice of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This is one of Neville Goddard's most essential teachings, that the feeling of fulfillment is the key to manifestation. If you can emotionally connect with the end result of your desire, it sends a powerful signal to your subconscious mind that what you desire is already yours. For instance, if you are seeking a loving relationship, you would not wait for the other person to come into your life to feel the love you desire. Instead, you would assume the feeling of being loved and fulfilled, imagining the joy and connection you would feel as if it were already happening. By doing this, you align yourself with the energy of love, and you create the conditions for it to appear in your life. Living in the end also requires that you cultivate patience and trust in the process. It can be challenging to maintain the belief that your desires are already fulfilled when the physical evidence doesn't align with your assumptions. However, Neville emphasizes that the moment you accept your desires fulfilled, the outer world must begin to conform to that inner assumption. This may take some time, but living in the end means maintaining your belief and living from that assumption, regardless of the time it takes for external circumstances to reflect it. Trusting the process and having faith in the unseen is an essential part of living in the end. The moment you stop chasing, the moment you release the tension of wanting, you create space for everything to flow into your life effortlessly. Desire, when held too tightly, creates resistance. You do not need to strive, to struggle, to push against the current of life. All that you seek is already seeking you. Your only task is to assume the feeling of already having it, to rest in the knowing that it is yours. There is no need to force the outer world to conform to your wishes. The world outside is but a reflection of the world within. When you shift your inner state, when you accept as true the reality you desire, the external world reshapes itself to match your assumption. It is law. If you truly believe that what you desire is already yours, it must come. Not through effort, not through struggle, but through the quiet certainty that it is done. What is yours cannot be taken away, delayed, or lost. It arrives in perfect time, in perfect order, according to your faith in the unseen. Worry and impatience are signals that you have stepped out of the state of the wish fulfilled. The moment you relax, the moment you trust, you align yourself with the inevitable unfolding of your desire. You do not plant a seed and then dig it up in doubt. You do not demand it grow on your schedule. You trust the unseen process beneath the soil. So too must you trust the unseen power working on your behalf. Your work is not in the doing, but in the being. Embody now the feeling of having, and the world will move to reflect it. Release the need to control, to grasp, to question how or when. That is not your concern. Your only concern is to remain faithful to the vision, to persist in the feeling of already having, to dwell in the state of fulfillment. All else is mere shadow play. When you surrender to the knowing, when you rest in the assurance that it is already done, the path unfolds effortlessly before you. The moment you relax, everything comes. The moment you release resistance, everything begins to flow toward you effortlessly. The very act of chasing, of desperately grasping at what you desire, creates an invisible barrier between you and the thing you seek. When you believe something is missing, you affirm its absence. When you tell yourself that you must struggle, push, or force things to happen, you unknowingly place yourself in a state of lack. And what is lack but a confirmation to the universe that you do not yet have what you desire? The energy you emit is always creating your reality, whether you are aware of it or not. There is no effort in manifestation, no strain, no hard work required. The world around you moves according to the state you embody within. When you chase, you send the signal that you are separate from what you want. You create a gap, a distance, an obstacle that would not exist if you simply relaxed into the knowing that all you seek is already on its way to you. The very energy of desperation, of need, only reinforces the fact that you do not yet have it. But what happens when you let go? What happens when you trust, when you shift your awareness from seeking to receiving? Everything changes. The ocean does not force the waves to rise and fall, nor does the sun struggle to shine. The river does not push itself toward the sea, it simply flows, effortlessly moving toward its destination. Nature understands something that we often forget. There is a natural order, an ease, a rhythm to life. When you relax, when you step back from the energy of wanting and instead move into the energy of having, you align yourself with this natural flow. Your desires are no different from the waves, the rivers, or the light of the sun. They move toward you when you create the space for them to arrive. How do you create that space? By feeling in this moment as though your desire is already fulfilled. Not in the future, not someday, but now. You must first embody the feeling of having before the outer world reflects it back to you. If you want love, do not chase it. Become love. If you want wealth, do not seek it desperately. Embody abundance in your thoughts, in your emotions, in your very being. When you rest in the certainty that all you desire is already yours, the world arranges itself accordingly. But the mind resists this truth. It wants to know how, when, and where things will happen. It wants to control the process, to make things happen through effort. It believes that without struggle, nothing can be achieved. But this is an illusion, a deeply ingrained belief that keeps you stuck in patterns of frustration and lack. When you fully understand that struggle is not necessary, that the only work required is the work of assumption and inner alignment, you free yourself from the chains of effort. You step into the realm of ease, where things unfold naturally, effortlessly, and in perfect harmony with your state of being. You do not need to force someone to love you. Love flows when you become the embodiment of love itself. You do not need to fight for success. Success gravitates toward the person who already feels successful within. You do not need to beg for opportunities. The right doors open when you align yourself with the reality where they already exist. Everything you want is already here, waiting for you to claim it, not through action or struggle, but through your inner state. Think of a time when something wonderful happened in your life, seemingly out of nowhere. Perhaps an opportunity arrived at the perfect moment, or a long-held desire was suddenly fulfilled without any effort on your part. In those moments, you were not chasing, you were aligned. You were in a state of ease, not desperation. The more you trust in this natural process, the more you will see it in action. There is a subtle yet powerful shift that happens when you go from wanting something to knowing it is already yours. Wanting implies lack. Knowing implies certainty. The moment you make that shift, the universe has no choice but to reflect that certainty back to you. The world outside is only ever responding to the world within. If you believe you must struggle, the world will confirm that belief by presenting obstacles. If you believe you must work tirelessly to receive what you desire, you will find yourself in an endless cycle of effort. But if you believe that all you desire is already flowing toward you, that you are already the person who has it, the world will conform to that assumption. This is why letting go is so powerful. Letting go does not mean giving up on your desires. It means releasing the tight grip of need and trusting that what is yours will come to you in perfect time. It means understanding that everything is already working in your favor, even when you cannot see it. The seed does not doubt whether it will grow into a tree. It simply follows the natural process of unfolding. So too must you trust in the unseen forces shaping your reality. Most people live in a constant state of resistance, trying to control every detail, worrying about outcomes, fearing that their desires will never come to pass. But what if you could surrender all of that? What if you could simply trust that the moment you assume the feeling of already having, it must manifest? The universe does not operate on doubt, worry, or struggle. It operates on certainty, on alignment, on the quiet, unwavering belief that what you desire is already yours. Think of the moments in your life when you felt completely at peace. In those moments, was there any struggle, any desperate longing, or was there simply a quiet knowing that all was well? That is the state in which manifestations happen effortlessly. That is the energy in which desires take form in the physical world. When you relax, you allow. When you release, you receive. The tension of wanting is replaced with the ease of knowing. And in that knowing, everything flows to you, not through effort, not through force, but through the undeniable power of alignment. The world outside is nothing more than a mirror of the world within. Every thought you hold, every belief you entertain, every emotion you dwell in is constantly shaping the reality you experience. The outer world is not separate from you. It is a direct reflection of your inner state. You do not simply react to life. Life reacts to you. When you understand this truth, you recognize that there is nothing outside of you that you must change, fix, or chase. The only change needed is within, and when that shift occurs, the world must rearrange itself to match it. People often believe that they must work hard to change their external circumstances. They think success, love, happiness, and abundance are things to be pursued. But the great secret is that you do not chase these things, you become them. The moment you embody the feeling of what you desire, it is drawn to you effortlessly. If you want love, do not seek it outside of yourself. Become love. If you want wealth, do not search for it desperately. Embody abundance in your thoughts, emotions, and actions. The world outside can only reflect what is within you. Most people live their lives unaware of this truth. They believe they are victims of circumstances, at the mercy of luck, fate, or the actions of others. They blame the world for their struggles, never realizing that the world is merely showing them the contents of their own minds. If you constantly experience rejection, struggle, or lack, it is not because life is unfair. It is because, deep within, you are holding on to thoughts and emotions that perpetuate these experiences. You might not be consciously aware of them, but they exist, shaping your reality moment by moment. To change your life, you must first change your inner state. You must begin to see yourself as already being the person who has what you desire. If you wish to be successful, start feeling successful now. Walk, talk, and think as if success is already yours. If you desire love, embody the energy of love. Love yourself, radiate love, and feel worthy of love. The world will respond accordingly. It has no choice. It is simply a mirror, reflecting back to you the state you occupy. Consider a person who constantly complains that nothing ever works out for them. They believe the world is against them, that they are unlucky, that success is for others but not for them. This belief becomes their reality. Every opportunity that comes their way slips through their fingers. Every experience reinforces their idea that life is unfair. But what if they changed their perspective? What if, instead of believing that life was against them, they began to see themselves as someone who is always in the right place at the right time? What if they assumed that things were always working out in their favor? The moment their inner state shifts, so does the world around them. They begin to notice opportunities they previously overlooked. They attract people who support them instead of those who bring them down. Life starts moving in a direction that aligns with their new assumptions. Nothing outside of them had to change first. The change happened within, and the outer world followed. This is why effort alone does not bring results. There are people who work tirelessly yet remain stuck, while others move through life with ease, effortlessly attracting all they desire. The difference is not in the amount of effort, but in the state they occupy. Those who struggle often do so because they believe that struggle is necessary. They are fighting against their own reflection, trying to change the mirror instead of adjusting what it is reflecting. If you stand before a mirror and frown, the reflection frowns back at you. No amount of effort can change that reflection unless you first change your expression. The same principle applies to life. You cannot expect joy, success, or love to appear in your reality while holding on to inner states of doubt, fear, or unworthiness. The world does not bring you what you want, it brings you what you are. Think of a time when you felt truly happy, even for a brief moment. During that time, did you notice how everything seemed to flow effortlessly? How people responded to you with warmth and kindness? How opportunities seemed to appear without you having to search for them? That was not coincidence. It was the result of your inner state being reflected in the world around you. The energy you radiated shaped your experience. Now, think of a time when you were filled with doubt, fear, or frustration. Everything felt difficult. Problems seemed to multiply. People reacted negatively to you. Again, this was not the world working against you. It was your inner state being mirrored back at you. The world is neutral. It does not judge, it does not punish, it simply reflects. When you begin to understand this, you take full responsibility for your reality. You stop blaming others, stop waiting for circumstances to change, and instead focus on changing yourself. You no longer react to life, you create life from within. This is the true meaning of freedom. You do not have to control the world outside. You do not have to manipulate circumstances or force things to happen. You only need to shift your inner world and the rest follows naturally. When you are in alignment with the feeling of having rather than wanting, everything flows effortlessly. If you want a life of peace, cultivate peace within. If you want abundance, feel abundant now. If you want love, radiate love. The universe is always listening, always responding, always reflecting. Your job is not to struggle against the world, but to align yourself with the reality you wish to experience. Once you embody this truth, you will see that life is not happening to you, it is responding to you. And in that understanding, everything changes. The moment you accept that what is meant for you is already yours, a profound shift takes place. The struggle, the anxiety, the desperate need to make things happen, all begin to fade away. You no longer feel the urge to force anything or chase after what seems out of reach. Instead, you rest in the quiet certainty that everything you desire is already on its way to you. There is no need to fight, no need to rush, no need to grasp at things as if they might slip away. What is meant for you cannot be lost, it cannot be taken, it cannot pass you by. It is yours because you are aligned with it, because you have assumed it to be true, and because the universe is simply responding to that assumption. Many people live in a state of fear, believing that opportunities are scarce, that love is rare, that success is for the fortunate few. They think they must compete, that they must prove themselves, that they must earn their worth. But the truth is, everything they seek is already seeking them. Everything they desire is already aligned with them, waiting for the moment they step into the state of receiving. The only thing that keeps them from experiencing it is the belief that it is not yet theirs. The belief in delay, in struggle, in lack is the only thing standing in the way. The moment that belief is dissolved, the manifestation occurs. There is nothing in the universe that is withholding from you. The only thing that delays your desires is your own resistance, the doubt, the worry, the endless questioning of when and how. When you truly understand that what is meant for you is already yours, you let go of that resistance. You move from a state of striving to a state of knowing. You stop chasing and start allowing. You stop worrying and start trusting. And in that trust, everything unfolds effortlessly. Think of the times in your life when things seemed to fall into place without effort, when you met the right person at the right time, when an opportunity appeared seemingly out of nowhere, when a problem resolved itself without you having to struggle. These moments were not random. They happened because, for that brief period, you were in alignment. You were not doubting, not fearing, not resisting. You were simply allowing. And in that state of allowing, the universe moved in perfect harmony with your desires. Now think of the times when you tried to force something to happen, when you obsessed over an outcome, when you worried about whether things would work out, when you pushed and struggled only to find that the more you tried, the harder it became. This was not because the universe was against you. It was because your own resistance was blocking the flow. The moment you let go, the moment you surrender to the knowing that what is yours is already on its way, everything shifts. People often think surrender means giving up. But true surrender is not about giving up. It is about stepping into a deeper level of trust. It is about knowing that you do not have to control every detail, that you do not have to struggle to make things happen, that the path is already laid out before you. You simply have to walk it with confidence, with ease, with certainty. When you do, you realize that everything you desire is not only possible, but inevitable. This does not mean you sit back and do nothing. It means you move through life with the quiet assurance that what is meant for you will arrive. You take inspired action, not out of desperation, but out of alignment. You trust your instincts, you follow your intuition, and you move in the direction of your desires with a sense of peace. There is no fear of missing out, no anxiety about losing what is yours. No need to compare yourself to others. You know that your path is uniquely yours, that your blessings are meant for you and no one else, that your dreams are already taking form in ways you may not yet see. Imagine holding a seed in your hand. You do not doubt that it has the potential to grow into a tree. You do not dig it up every day to check if it is growing. You simply plant it, water it, and trust that, in time, it will become what it was always meant to be. The same is true for your desires. The moment you plant the seed of belief, the moment you assume your wish is already fulfilled, it begins to take root in the unseen. You may not see immediate results, but that does not mean nothing is happening. The growth is occurring beneath the surface, beyond your sight, until one day it emerges into your reality. But if you doubt, if you dig up the seed with thoughts of fear and impatience, you disrupt the process. You slow it down. You delay what was already meant to come to you. This is why faith is so powerful. Not faith in something external, but faith in the knowing that your desires are already set in motion, that what is yours is making its way to you, that the universe has already arranged the perfect path. Many people waste time worrying about whether things will happen for them. They look around at others and wonder why some seem to have it easier, why some manifest quickly while they struggle. But comparison is a distraction. No one else's path is relevant to yours. You do not need to compete. You do not need to rush. The timing of your manifestations is perfect, whether you can see it or not. And when you truly embrace this understanding, life becomes peaceful. You stop worrying, you stop doubting, you stop questioning whether you are on the right path, because you know you are. There is no need to struggle to be loved. The love that is meant for you is already aligned with you. There is no need to fight for success. The success that belongs to you is already unfolding in your favor. There is no need to fear that you will be left behind. Everything is happening in divine order, in divine timing, in the perfect way it is meant to. The moment you accept this, the moment you rest in the knowing that what is yours is already on its way, you shift from a state of lack to a state of abundance. You move from effort to ease. And in that ease, everything flows to you effortlessly. The moment you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you shift from hoping to knowing, from wanting to having. There is no longer a gap between you and your desire, they are one. This is the great secret that most people overlook. They continue to wish for their dreams instead of living in the state where their dreams are already real. The mind does not distinguish between what is physically present and what is imagined with conviction. It simply reflects the state you embody. If you continue to see your desire as something distant, something that requires effort, struggle, or time to attain, you are affirming separation. But the instant you step into the state of already having it, reality rearranges itself to make it so. Most people do not realize that their assumptions shape their world. They wait for external proof before they believe, when in truth, belief creates the proof. They think they must first see results, feel progress, witness change. But reality does not work that way. It is the inner world that gives rise to the outer, not the other way around. The outer world is simply the mirror reflecting what is being assumed within. If you assume you are still waiting, that you must work harder, that your desires are distant, then that is what will continue to be reflected. But if you assume the state of already being, having, and experiencing your desire, the world has no choice but to conform. There is nothing more powerful than living from the end, from the absolute certainty that what you seek is already yours. Imagine you have already received the thing you want most, not in some distant future, but right now. How would you feel? How would you carry yourself? How would you speak, think, act? If you had the relationship, the success, the wealth, the health you desire, what kind of person would you be? The secret is to embody that state now, without waiting for external confirmation. The world cannot resist conforming to a consciousness that is already convinced. This is why struggle is unnecessary. Struggle is born from the belief that something is missing, that something must be done before you can have what you want. But in reality, the only thing missing is the assumption that you already possess it. The mind will argue. It will say, but I do not see it yet. I do not have proof. It hasn't happened. But the moment you entertain those thoughts, you reaffirm the absence. You tell reality to keep withholding because you are still focused on the lack instead of the fulfillment. To shift, you must become deeply familiar with the feeling of already having. This is not pretending or wishful thinking. It is knowing. It is stepping into the version of yourself who already has what they desire and living from that place. The moment you do, everything begins to shift. Your actions change, your energy shifts, your words take on new meaning, and people begin to respond to you differently. The world moves to accommodate your new state. Because reality is fluid, it molds itself around your consciousness. There is no force required. You do not need to convince anyone, explain yourself, or work tirelessly to make things happen. The moment you truly assume the feeling of already having, doors open where there were none. The opportunities you once chased begin to chase you. The people who seemed out of reach suddenly appear in your life. Circumstances align effortlessly, and what once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. Most people fail because they waver between states. They assume their wish fulfilled for a moment, then allow doubt to creep in. They look for signs, they check their circumstances, they wonder if it is working. But this is like planting a seed and digging it up each day to see if it is growing. The seed does not need to be checked, it needs to be trusted. When you assume something, you do not need proof. You do not question whether the sun will rise tomorrow or whether gravity will continue to work. You simply know. That is the level of certainty required. You must persist in the state of the wish fulfilled, regardless of appearances. Reality may take time to catch up, but it must conform. It has no choice. Your only task is to remain unwavering in your assumption. It does not matter what others say, what circumstances seem to suggest, what past experiences have shown. The past is irrelevant. The only thing that matters is the state you choose to embody now. If you remain faithful to that state, the outer world will be forced to reflect it. Some may wonder, but what if I assume and nothing happens? This is the mind's last attempt to cling to doubt. If you truly assume, you would not ask that question. You would not look for results because you would already know it is done. There would be no room for uncertainty, no need to check, no reason to wonder. You would go about your days as if your wish were already a reality because to you it would be. This is the path of least resistance. The world teaches effort, struggle, hard work, but all of these stem from the belief that you must earn your desires. In truth, you must simply align with them. You must become the person who already has what they seek. The moment you shift into that state, everything rearranges itself effortlessly. There is no fight, no conflict, no need to prove anything. You are not chasing after reality. Reality is responding to you. The moment you wake up to this understanding, life changes forever. You no longer see yourself as someone waiting for things to happen. You become the cause of all that unfolds. You stop wishing, stop hoping, stop pleading. Instead, you move through life with certainty, knowing that whatever you assume to be true must come to pass. You stop looking outside for confirmation and start trusting that the unseen is just as real as what you can perceive. Everything is already done. Your desires exist the moment you assume them. They are not in some distant future. They are here, now. The only thing required is for you to step into the version of yourself who already has them. The moment you do, the outer world will mirror it back to you without resistance. There is nothing else to do but to remain in that state and watch as everything aligns in perfect harmony. The present moment holds everything you have ever desired. It is not some distant point in the future where your dreams finally come true, nor is it something you must chase endlessly. The mind, conditioned by the world, tells you that time separates you from what you want. It convinces you that there is a process, a waiting period, an effort that must be exerted before you can claim your desires. But this is the illusion. There is no gap, no delay, no waiting. The moment you assume that your wish is already fulfilled, it is done. Time does not dictate manifestation, consciousness does. To understand this, you must first free yourself from the belief that the future holds your happiness. That somehow, after enough work, enough patience, enough struggle, you will finally reach that point where life gives you what you seek. But the future is an illusion. It is nothing more than a projection of the present state of consciousness. If you are waiting for something to happen, you will always be waiting. If you believe that your dreams are still in the process of unfolding, then they will always remain just out of reach. You must instead claim them now in this moment with absolute certainty. This is where most people hesitate. They look around at their current circumstances and think, but my reality does not reflect my desires yet. And in that thought alone, they create more of the same, because the world is only ever a reflection of your state of being, not the cause of it. If you continue to acknowledge lack, if you continue to affirm that your desires are coming in the future, you are pushing them away. The only way to experience them is to know with unwavering faith that they exist here and now. You do not have to struggle to make this so. The moment you shift your state, reality begins to conform, not in the way that logic expects, not through effort or force, but through the effortless unfolding of events that seem almost too perfect to be coincidence. The right people appear. The perfect opportunities arise. Everything aligns in a way that no amount of planning could have orchestrated. But none of this can happen if you remain trapped in the belief that your desire is separate from you. The secret is in surrender. Not in the way the world teaches it, where surrender means giving up, but in the deeper understanding that surrender is the release of resistance. It is the letting go of the need to control, the need to figure out how things will happen, the need to force reality to conform to your will. The moment you surrender to the knowing that your desires are already fulfilled, you step into effortless flow. Things no longer feel difficult. You no longer feel the urgency, the anxiety, the impatience. Instead, you rest in the certainty that all is well, that everything is already done, and that reality has no choice but to reflect that state. Many struggle with this because they are accustomed to effort. They believe they must do something to bring about their desires. But true creation is not about effort. It is about alignment. When you are aligned with the state of your wish fulfilled, the actions you take are no longer forced. They arise naturally, effortlessly, as a reflection of your inner conviction. The right words come to you at the right time. The right steps present themselves without stress or overthinking. It all unfolds as though it were meant to be, because it was, because you assumed it into being. There is nothing outside of you that can give you what you seek, not people, not circumstances, not time. Everything exists within you. Your consciousness is the only reality. If you wish to experience something different in the outer world, you must first assume it within. If you wish to feel abundance, feel it now. If you wish to experience love, embody it now. If you wish to have success, carry yourself as though it is already yours. And as you do, the world will shift. Not because it is responding to your effort, but because it has no choice but to mirror your inner state. Doubt is the only thing that stands in the way. The mind will try to convince you that this cannot be true, that there must be more to it, that you must take some action to prove your worthiness. But these are just remnants of old conditioning, echoes of a belief system that says things must be hard. The truth is that nothing is difficult unless you assume it to be. Manifestation is not a complex process. It is the simplest thing in the world because it is happening all the time. You are always manifesting, whether you realize it or not. The only question is whether you are consciously choosing what you desire or unconsciously perpetuating what you do not. Look at your life as it is now. Every experience, every circumstance, every relationship is a reflection of the assumptions you have held up until this moment. If you do not like what you see, change the assumption, not the outer world. The outer world is only a shadow. It cannot change on its own. But the moment you shift your inner state, the shadow must shift as well. There is no need to rush. There is no need to worry. Everything you desire is already yours. You do not need to chase, to beg, to prove yourself worthy. You only need to assume the feeling of already having, already being, already living in the fulfillment of your dreams. And the moment you do, the world will reflect it back to you with absolute precision. Everything is now. The waiting, the striving, the hoping, all of it is unnecessary. The future does not hold your happiness, because happiness is never in the future. It is here, it is now. It is only a shift in awareness away.